After the cliffhanger ending from Critters 1, you just knew that they were going to make a sequel. And why not? In the late 80s, little killer creatures were all the craze, and there's so much potential with Critters. Just think of the merchandising. Critters dolls, Critters books, heck, even Critters bowling balls. Critters 2 opens up on an alien world, and we see the bounty hunters doing what they do best. But now, Charlie joins them. That's right. Remember in the first movie when he walked away with the two hunters? Well, apparently they took him aboard their spaceship, and now he works for them. We even get names for the hunters as well. Ugg and Lee. Ugg maintains his form from the first movie, as Johnny Steele, but Lee couldn't stay as Charlie, probably because that would be too confusing. So for now, he's back to being a highlighter head. Next, we see a 15-year-old Brad. You see, after the events of the first movie, the Brown family moved out of town. But now, for Easter, Bradley's come home to visit his grandma. Back at the old Brown's place, it's been left abandoned, and Wesley here found those eggs left behind by the original Critters. He brought along Quigley, a local antique store owner, here to buy the eggs off of him. Given that it's almost Easter, he figures, why not?
Load them up. Right.
Next, we meet Megan Morgan, Brad's love interest, and her father, who owns the local newspaper. When they see Brad getting off the bus, they think there's a story there. The boy who cried Critter.
This is big news in Grover's Bend. Inquiring minds want to know.
Over at Quigley's antique shop, a lady from the church comes in to buy those eggs for the town Easter egg hunt. I think you can see where this is going. Well, she didn't buy all of them, because after she leaves, we see that some have hatched, and it's all over for Quigley. The next morning, everyone's gathered for church, and we meet the new town's sheriff, playing as the Easter Bunny. But little does he know, the eggs are hatching, and it just so happens baby critters have a thing for rabbit. He goes crashing in through the church's front windows, and everyone runs for dear life, not knowing what's happening. But Brad knows. The critters are back. Brad and Megan rush over to Harv's trailer, the old sheriff, now played by Barry Corbin. He's a good sheriff, but I wonder why M. Emmett Walsh didn't want to come back. Well, once he learns about the Krite's return, he hightails it out of there.
I'm hauling ass.
The town voted him out. They didn't want him as sheriff anymore. Why should he help now? After learning about the possibility of more critters on Earth, the bounty hunters hightail it back, and Charlie steps foot on his native land for the first time in years. What's the first thing he does? Why, look at a Playboy. Ah yes, Charlie, a man of culture. Well, Lee sees one of the girls in the magazine and decides to transform into her. That's actually pretty funny and a clever way to get a half-naked woman in your movie. See, Mom, nudity can be important to the plot. Brad and the gang go to his grandma's house to make sure that she's okay, and she's not. A critter trying to get him. Brad grabs the communicator he received in the first movie, and at the push of a button, they're saved instantly.
That was fast.
The good news is now Brad and Charlie can reunite and catch up. Charlie saying that he likes working out in space. Up there, he has a purpose.
Go where no man has gone before.
Next, everyone heads to the Hungry Heifers, the local fast food joint. The critters like to eat, so it makes sense that they've invaded a burger stand. Here's where we really see the Gremlins' influence. With all the Krites joking around, and when the bounty hunters open fire, it just gets more and more goofy. We do get to see one more critter power, however. They can all join together to form a huge ball. So that's cool. Lee sees the hungry heifer manager and decides to turn into him. Boo! Bring back the hot chick. Thank you. By the way, does the manager look familiar? It's Froggy from Laser Blast. Lee wanders down a dark alley and gets attacked. It's not looking good for her, and soon, Ugg confirms it. She's dead. This is all a little too much for Ugg to handle. He just lost his partner in crime, so he shifts back to his normal form. Everyone regroups at the church, where this dumb little girl takes off on a tricycle while the critters chase her. She could probably run faster than she can ride on that rinky-dink thing. Well, Brad runs after her to save the day, but there's just too many of them, and he's outnumbered. What's he gonna do? Well, good old Harv comes in to save the day.
I'm back.
You didn't think he'd really abandon the town, did you?
Looks like we got us a job to do.
Now, they need to come up with a plan. They know that the Krites like to gather when they eat, and they eat all the time. So what if they were to herd them over to the hamburger factory just outside of town? Then they could lace the meat with dynamite and blow them all to Kingdom Come. It's the best chance they got, so they get started right away. And when the time's right, they start leading the fur balls towards the factory. Everything's going as planned until the wind shifts and they smell live meat. That's not good. And Charlie nopes out of there at the first sign of danger.
Charlie, come back here!
Then suddenly, one of them brings up the bones and how they're a pain to chew around. So they all decide to just continue heading for some burgers. Inside the factory, they go nuts. All except for that big one. What's up with that? Well, surprise, it's Ugg. He took the form of the Krites, and he was the one who said it's too hard to eat around the bones. Smart. Brad and Megan close the door, locking them all in and blasting them to smithereens. But is this the end of the critters? Nope. A big giant ball of them comes rolling out, wreaking havoc as it goes. It would take a miracle to save the day now. Well, that miracle comes in the form of Charlie, who crash lands into the ball, sacrificing himself for the greater good of humanity. But, you know, now he's dead, and even Ugg turning into him doesn't really bring him back. The town rebuilds, and Brad loads up on the bus to head home. Just wait until his parents hear this story.
Get a move on, son. This bus runs on a schedule.
Before he heads out, however, Charlie shows up with a parachute on his back.
Charlie.
Okay, it kind of takes away from the sacrifice he made, but sure, Charlie's back. A UFO comes and picks up Ugg. And the bus driver's like, what the heck is happening in this town?
Hey, listen, what just happened here?
Harv gives Charlie his sheriff badge, so I guess he's the new sheriff in town. And Brad and Megan finally kiss. Everyone lives happily ever after, and to my surprise, there's no cliffhanger ending. And that was Critters 2. All in all, a worthy sequel, and not too bad. The only thing it was lacking was a good bounty hunter transformation scene. Here it's just zap and they're done. In the first movie, it was gruesome and had some pretty good special effects. But here, you get that Playboy joke. So I guess that makes up for it. You're trading good effects for boobs. It's a good deal. I like how they had a few of the original cast back, mainly Brad, Ugg, and Charlie, but it would have been nice to have seen the original Harv. The critters all look good like they did before, and it all has the same feeling as the original. I would say if you like the first Critters, then check this one out. It's a worthy sequel, but it still doesn't hold a candle to its competition, Gremlins. I give Critters 2 2 Crate bowling balls out of 4.